Thomas, we just got Madam Web's first trailer. What'd you think?
I don't know. Like, there's so many emotions, right, when it comes to Sony Marvel projects. And this one, there's a lot of it that looks dope, but at the same time, this is the same studio that gave us Morbius and Venom 2. So, like, I don't know how I feel, but I'm on board. I'm, like, really excited about it, actually. I'm just, like, fully ready to jump in and just let it do what it does. Just have fun with it. Well, I don't know. What was your thoughts on your initial reaction to the trailer?
Clearly does not have that MCU polish, but I'm excited to see Julia Carpenter and the rest of this new Spider team. I'm a little bit confused about the timeline, but overall, I'll definitely be at the theaters to watch this.
The timeline of this show is really confusing because what we know about Madam Web from the comics is that she's an old lady, or like what we saw in Spider-Man the Animated Series.
There
In
it is.
this, we're getting a younger Dakota Johnson than normal Madam Web, but it seems like this is more of an origin story. So it does seem to be throwing off our own timeline on things, mixed in with her jumping around in different timelines, which we just saw in Loki.
The other problem with that is it's four origin stories in one. We're going to be learning about four new Spider people, plus, Wish version of Spider Man that's going to be their villain.
Yeah, I guess it's almost like five origin stories, maybe even six because we're getting Ben, Uncle
Uncle
Ben,
Ben and Mary, yeah.
right? So this is very confusing. I'm trying not to think about it too much, like not do our Loki analysis with this one, and
Of
just
course.
let it surprise me. There was a lot that still looks cool in this trailer, though.
And we have a baby that's born that I am betting my car on is Peter Parker.
Good call. Yeah, I was so confused about that. I didn't know who that was. I'm like, wait, is this Peter Parker? Is it Mary Parker? Is it one of the girls that we're seeing that's a part of the Spider Woman team or Madam Web team? I don't know, but I agree with you. I think definitely a Peter Parker tie-in.
What is something that you're most excited for in the new Madam Web movie? I'll start off. I look forward to hearing about Uncle Ben becoming the Uncle Ben that motivates Peter Parker going forward.
Yeah, that's a great one. Mine is a lot more like piggish. I just wanted to see Julia Carpenter because Sydney Sweeney in that white and black suit looks fire.
No complaints. Fully on board with that. That is like
Yeah,
to me one of the epitomes of '90s comics is her in all our outfits. So that's great.
absolutely. The one thing I could say, and from what we see in the trailer, the suit looks incredible, and I understand why they did this because you can't cover up Sydney Sweeney's face. But like, I'm a little sad we didn't get the eye covers or like the eye shields on the suit, like just to make it fully comic accurate. But like, you can't cover up Sydney's face; she's too popular right now.
Agreed, but I hope they eventually do that in the future. Once we establish a character, maybe she gets some tech because this feels like it's kind of in the past a little bit. Oh, it has to be in the past because of Peter Parker. So hopefully, like when she's in modern day, she gets better eye coverage.
One of my other first thoughts after watching the whole trailer was this seems like it's messing around a lot with timelines. And it looks like we're jumping from the past to the future. And this Ezekiel Sims guy is also doing the same because we see him age in it. But like Loki did it so well, I feel like that maybe threw a wrench in this movie's plans.
Yeah, that's really tricky, and it's funny because Madam Web, with the way she's connected to the web, kind of is doing the Loki thing right now. She has that ability to kind of connect with all timeline stuff. Also, I forgot about this. Ezekiel seems ageless because we see her with the mom at the same age that he's messing with him. So I wonder if that's how we're gonna get Julia Carpenter to not age up too fast for the future.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a good point. I did not even think about that at all. It seems like she goes from high school kid in the beginning of the trailer where they're all at the diner and then Madam Web kind of gets her ass kicked and then the adventure starts. This is the way I foresee it if I had to guess. I think we get them as the heroes in the beginning and then we flash back to the beginning of their story where Madam Web first meets them and then the movie starts kind of. From there,
Okay.
the adventure goes because we need to see how they turn into the heroes that we see, and then from there we kind of jump back to the end with them being able to stop him finally at the end of the movie with them all powered up.
Man, the ages are so off in this movie. It's throwing.
It is, yeah, it's confusing, dude. It is,
Either way, can't wait to see Spider Woman. That's gonna be the
yeah,
best.
and we're kind of getting three versions of Spider Woman in this movie,
Yeah.
right? We get Julian Carpenter Spider Woman. We get
Maddie Franklin Spider Woman, and then we
yep,
get
Maddie Franklin.
Anya
Yeah.
Spider Girl, who is kind of new to comic books, but is exciting new addition to the Spider-Verse. So I'm hoping that we get to kind of expand her a little bit more and start to fold her into the MCU like everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. Good point right there. Do we get a MCU tie-in, or do we get more of a contained Sony universe?
I think we're gonna, the Iron Man of this universe, funny enough, isn't Spider-Man, it's Venom. So I have a feeling we'll get a Venom link at the end.
Ah, I like that. That'd be cool. I'd like to see a Tom Hardy nod. That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
We also have like the Morbius of it all, and we have the Adrian Toomes of it all. He's now in that universe. Like, do we see any of them pop up in this movie?
Well, might as well. I mean, Sony's just gonna Sony's trying to make their own Avengers Endgame vibe, so they're gonna keep throwing things at the wall and just see what happens. And I'm gonna enjoy it. It's just again, it's not that polish that we expect out of the MCU, so it feels off a little bit. But
Yeah. The craziest part about this for me is I'm more excited for this than I was about Morbius. Maybe that's not a surprise, but definitely more than Venom 2. Like I really, I respect Venom as a character. There's a lot I like about that character. I think Spider-Man 2 did a great job of showing it, but Venom's never been my favorite. So I think I'm more excited for this than any Sony Marvel project, including what's the latest one? Craven.
Craven looks outstanding to me. I didn't expect it. That's part of it, and Spider-Man 2 really helps. But Venom, I like Venom a lot, and the second one we had Carnage. Every time a new Venom comes out, I know it's not going to be good. Like I know it's not going to be one of the best movies ever, but I'm always going to have fun with it. It's a popcorn flick, and so I'm always hyped for those Venom ones. I'm hoping that's how what this is as well. I hope this is a nice little popcorn flick, kind of like the Marvels, which came out this weekend. You can just go in, enjoy yourself, and that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks a ton of fun. Like the action actually looks really cool. The timeline jumping, again, do not think it's going to be like Loki level of storytelling. But at the same time, seeing all these characters interact and the different actresses that they have playing these different characters, it looks like their dynamics really fun. And the idea of seeing an evil Spider-Man that's going around and murking people is really badass too. Like, even if he looks like Wish.com Spider-Man, like he punches a cop in the stomach at one point and it looks like it just kills him. That's pretty dark for Spider-Man.
Yeah, and we see he's like choking out Anya in the beginning, so she's gonna clearly have a vendetta against him. They all will, but yeah, he's definitely a nonstop Spider-Man. I don't know. I'm a little worried about him because I think he looks too close to Spider-Man. But that's if you're into the Spider-Man comics, that happens all the time. So I just have to kind of get used to it.
We've never seen a evil Spider-Man on screen before in live action. So for me, this is kind of exciting. We're kind of getting the Omni-Man or the Homelander vibe, but for Spider-Man, and that's kind of sick. Like he looks, he looks pretty intimidating. I know his story in the comics is a little convoluted, but at the same time, it's gonna be awesome that there's no Spider-Man to stop him, so that these other characters have to step up.
Yeah, and I think we're getting a Flash, reverse Flash moment, right, where he's going back in time to try to stop Spider-Man because he's going back and like trying to go for Uncle Ben, going for Mary, and so it's kind of like if we don't stop him, and you brought up a good point before, if we don't stop him now, we won't have Spider-Man, and in the process, he's going to end up making Spider-Man.
Right. And I think he also, in the process, ends up making the rest of these women the heroes that we know they become. So I think it's cool. It's one of those, I don't know if we call it reverse causality or whatever term that we were throwing out with Loki. I think that this loop that he's trying to stop, he then ends up creating, which is a really cool thing to play with. Again, we just saw this happen in Loki. It was fantastically done there. I don't know if this changed any plans for this movie, but at the same time, I'm excited to see how Sony does it because they did a fantastic job with creating it into the Spider-Verse and also across the Spider-Verse. So let's see what happens.
All right, guys, let us know what you thought about this. Hit us up on the social medias, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.